Hello, hello. Ooh, why is that so dark? Okay, we just gonna play with this ring light. See if I can bring a little life there. Nevertheless, hey, happy Sunday. For those who don't know, my name is Allison Rozelle, and I am a spiritual empowerment coach for women. I'm also a certified Usui Reiki master healer and teacher at my school, the Sacred Pathway Academy. Currently got open enrollment for quite a few programs that I will tell you about just a little bit later. Hello, goddess. So, okay. So I wanted to jump on today. I have quite a bit to share with you all. I haven't really been doing that many lives on Instagram as I used to because I'm trying out different platforms and trying to kind of reconfigure the way that I'm doing business online and where I want to and choose to show up for my tribe. So yeah. So I have recently joined Colette Baron Reed's membership, and I am super stoked about it. If anybody, y'all been following me for a while, y'all know I love me some Colette Baron Reed. I love her. I have, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of her decks, and I have like a couple of them sitting in my cart for Hay House that I'm gonna get. So I'm part of that. Now, one of the bonuses that she has given is a course, if you will, a live course or teaching of her deck, The Good Tarot. Now, y'all know I'm not a tarot reader. Now, I dabble a little, but oracle cards are my jam. But I've always been curious about her creation of the Good Tarot and how it stands up against traditional tarot. Of course, right away I knew some of the differences, but I also noticed a lot of similarities, and I just love that. So I've been taking that. So it caused me to do a little reflection when we were talking about, because I'm catching up. I got a little bit behind, but I'm catching up on the lessons. So one of the suits we were talking about, or they were talking about on this replay. So I'm going to share that one of the cards that really jumped out at me that's giving me today's message, okay? So stay with me, y'all, because I know this is going to seem like I'm going all over the place. But y'all know I always have a print to everything I do, right? Right. Okay. I try not to be like super random. I like to be very intentional. But random sometimes works. So we gonna make it work. So I got a little show and tell for y'all. Are you ready? Okay. So I want to share some pictures of myself in particular phases of my life, okay? Now, these are phases of me under the age of 20, and I want to share them with you. Now, y'all know I'm a Leo, and I have no problem of, performing, standing in front of people, whatever. Wasn't always the case. Started that way, and then it slowly began to stop. So let me show you. This young lady here, ballerina, tap dancing. I love my little hands on the hip. My daddy took these pictures of me. I gave all kinds of just face and attitude. And I just knew it because my daddy always loved taking pictures. He really, I won't say he missed his calling, but yes, he should have been a professional photographer. But it was like he loved doing that in his spare time. And of course, he loved taking pictures of his family. So my daddy took those pictures. So those pictures, I know I was probably like 8, 9, something like that. But got a little older and I wanted to be a model. So this is me modeling for one of the department stores in my hometown. And I did a little modeling at this church. Look at me ripping the runway, honey. So I would say those phases of my life, I was very clear on wanting to be seen, but not of being a show off, but really just being out and being myself and just being full of life, exploring, trying new things, finding my footing and everything else. So now I'm going to show you another picture. This is senior prom. I went stag with my friends because I had a date for junior prom. He was a bit of an asshole, so I left him where he stood. And I did this. This picture of me, wow, beautiful. My cousin, she did my hair. When I look at it, it kind of makes me sad. Because this is where, in my teenage life, I stopped wanting I stopped really living being me. The conformity of life. Thank you, Goddess. This young lady here, she didn't really like herself. Like, I remember being told to suck in my stomach to take this picture. And it hurt my feelings. Now, this was at home that I was getting this picture, and a professional came to the house and took these pictures. He was a friend of my mom's. They used to work together. But I remember standing here and taking this picture and being told to suck in my stomach. And as I'm sitting here, as my hair is fried, dyed, laid to the side, this was my compromise hairstyle because I didn't want hair. I didn't want it. At least not in that sense of it being fried and having relaxers and pressed and everything else. I didn't like what came with that. Because growing up as a light-skinned black girl whose name was Allison in my hometown was a bit of a curse. Because the boys liked me, the girls hated me. The boys liked me because I was close to white. But I had a body like a black girl. So, technically. And that was always the thing of when I met a guy and I would ask, why do you like me? And they would say, oh, because you're so pretty. You're light skinned and you got that long, pretty hair. Really? Now, when I was younger teen, that used to work. But as I got to be an older teen, it stopped working because I was like, oh, so if I looked like my mother, who is darker skinned, I'd be okay. I wouldn't be as beautiful to you. Interesting. The other thing about this girl, she really wanted to be free. She didn't feel free at all. She felt like she always had to be everything else than what she really wanted to be. She didn't feel like it was an option for her to truly explore herself. That she had to be exactly who she was taught to be. That she always had to follow the rules. That she could never question anything. That she just had to go along. She never felt pretty enough, smart enough, good enough, worthy. I had some assholes as boyfriends in high school. I'm going to tell you, I did. They were assholes. Straight. And that kind of lingered into going into college as well. Assholes. Didn't help my worth at all. But see, I was looking for it outside of myself. So when I started feeling those feelings of unworthiness as I got older, those started turning into habits of drinking, smoking, sex, because I just needed to feel something. And I'm not saying that to bum everybody out, but that's part of my story. The other piece of that is, again, I lost who I was. And, when I started on my spiritual journey, I actually made it a point to think about, where did it stop? Because when I was a kid, going back to the ballerina and the tap dancer and the model and, pretending with my dolls that I was a teacher and all this other stuff, where did I stop believing that all of that could be so for me? Where did it stop? When did that happen? Teenage years. As for a lot of us, teenage years is where dreams go to die. Because you're immediately taught that you're supposed to conform. Even though you're told that you're not supposed to conform, but societally, you're already taught you have to conform. And if you look different, act different than everybody else, you are shunned. And that was even more so in the Black community. Let's just be real. If I could have shown up completely as I really wanted to, as myself, then this girl would have looked a whole lot different. Number one, her head would have been shaved. Number two, she would have had a nose ring. Number three, she probably would have worn something a little more bohemian and not quite as typical prom queen look. That's just was not who I was. So when I started doing on my spiritual journey, when I went into the shadows and started doing what is now called shadow work, that's the shit that really messed with me. Wow. I stopped being me so that I could fit in, so that people would like me, so I could please everybody. I stopped the dreams that I really had for myself, or at least trying to figure them out. So I say all that because this kind of feeds into my next part of my message. So I'm a spiritual empowerment coach for women who are 40 and over. That's my niche market. Those are the women that I'm seeking. And honestly, most of those women that find me are part of the BIPOC community, because I am part of the BIPOC community. A lot of women in the BIPOC community, and non, but I'll stick with the women who tend to work with me most, have similar kind of stories of how they really just could not be who they were. They couldn't be like their white counterparts and rebel. Didn't have the freedom to do that, to be a rebel, to be able to just be. And so now here we are in our 40s, and we're trying to figure things out, and we're trying to see where we are, where are we going, what do we want? Because many of us have been married before, we have children, some of our children are grown or about to be grown or somewhere, in between. And we're trying to figure this thing called life out. So here we are in our 40s, and we begin to wonder, did I miss it? Did I miss my opportunity to do thus and so? Am I too late? Is it too late? At this point, I may as well just, stay at this job and do what I gotta do so I can get ready to retire at 65 or whatever. I just, at this point, I've been doing this for this long, may as well just keep on doing it. Yeah. A lot of us have that mindset of, well, it's been working, so I may as well just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the problem is, it's so broke. It's so broke because it was you trying to fit into something that you were never meant to be. It was you trying to continue that thought pattern, those limiting beliefs, that sabotaging shit, that stuff that's like clouding our root chakras so much from like our childhoods, our teenagehoods. And I know I'm talking better than what y'all are telling me, so somebody better amen me or heart me or something, because I know. But we're in this cycle of, I gotta live my life and just keep going on this endless hamster wheel. Even though I am so frustrated and so unhappy, I feel stifled, I feel stuck, I feel like I just can't move forward. And it's like life keeps lifing and throwing more and more and more at me, and I just don't know what else to do with myself. I can't get stuff done because life keeps lifing. And then I have that whole procrastination thing, which comes from fear, because I'm actually afraid to get stuff done, because if I get stuff done and accomplished, then I know that, God's going to take me to another level. And I'm like, am I ready for that level? Do I need to just stand still? What the hell am I doing? Yeah. So we're going through these transitional things, trying to figure things out, trying to sort things out in our head, trying to make sense of it all the while still denying our callings, our purpose, our passion, our goals, our intentions, forgetting who we are and whose we are, all for the sake of stuck in the teenager. Because many of us, it's the teenager. It's not the inner child. It's her. It's the teenager. She's holding us up because she didn't get healed. She didn't get healed. That inner teenager that needed to rebel, that needed to say, this is who I am. This is, who I'm growing into being, who I see myself being. And the sad part is, so many of us get stifled by the people, the well-meaning people who raised us. And they're not trying to, but they're trying to keep us safe. Hello, beautiful queen. But in keeping us safe, it's also keeping us stuck. Because the comfort zone, we think, is where we're safe. But in actuality, it's doing more damage to us than it is good. So we can't move forward. We don't really know where to go because everything outside of that is foreign. So a lot of us that are in this age group are now trying to figure things out for ourselves. So the reason why I had brought up the Good Tarot, I want you to look at this card. The 10 of Air. I have now, after this class, fallen in love with this particular card. And I'm going to read you what the card is, the meaning of it, and explain what I'm talking about. So it's graceful endings and hopeful beginnings. It's where graceful endings and hopeful beginnings meet. Many of us are at this point of everything up to this point needs to end. And with this particular card, the air represents in traditional tarot the swords. And so with this particular card, the air is about what's going on up here in the mind. So those mindsets that we once had, where this inner teenager, she needs to get her justice, she needs to get her due, but we got to work through some stuff in our mind so that those mindsets can have the ending and we can move into new beginnings. It can start right here. It can end right here. But the question then becomes, what do we need to do for that? And this might be a little too heavy for some people. So I'm going to read more of this. And it says, it's a point of epiphany. An end to old ways of thinking. Many of us have had moments of our epiphany. We can't say exactly when it happens. Sometimes we can't pinpoint exactly when it happens. But that epiphany of maybe there's more and maybe I should go for it. That thought of maybe I should move. Maybe I should move forward in this. Maybe I go ahead and enroll in that course and take things slow. Maybe I give my inner teenager her due and tell her and love on her in some intense shadow work to let her know that you are safe, that you can be yourself now, that you don't have anybody telling you who you're supposed to be anymore. You now are in full control of your destiny. You can be you. You don't have to, if you need to rebel against the system, let's go. Let's rebel. Are we shaving our head? Let's shave it. Are we changing the way we dress? Let's change it. Are we now, wiping away all the makeup, or maybe we're putting the makeup on? However we need to do that, let's meet her where she is so she can get healed. So that way that old mindset can go and a new one can form. And that scab can kind of break off. Is this making sense to anybody? Because it's sure enough making sense to me. And it's making sense in my head. Don't know if it's translating well. But yeah, when I'm thinking about this card and how, for me, I had that epiphany of maybe it's not just me. Maybe I need to make peace with some things so that I can have a graceful ending and look to a new beginning and embrace that new beginning and not return into that old. Looking at that old with fond memories of there were some beautiful things about that point in my life. I'm not gonna lie. I had fun as a teenager. Would have had more fun if I had just been able to really feel free enough to be who I was. But I still had fun. I had two parents that loved me dearly. They may not have done everything right. They may not have done everything the way that I felt they probably maybe should have. But you know what? Parenting is hard. Them little boogers don't come with instructions. You got to figure that shit out. You got to figure it out. Raising children is trial and error. Sometimes the error seems to be a lot more than the trial, but not really. It's not as bad as we think it is most of the time. So I want to read this last part of here. It says, "It's all up from here as I bless the ending." Have you blessed the ending? Grateful for the lessons I have learned that can free me from patterns that no longer serve me. I allow my circumstances to end with grace, as I know something better can appear at any time. I am thankful that from now on, I can respond differently to any challenging situation. So that's the beautiful part. When you give that graceful ending, when you embrace that inner teenager or inner child, whichever part where everything went south for you, you now can let her know, or him, if you're a guy watching this, let them know we can do things differently and it's okay. We're safe. We're safe. It's safe for us to be who we are. It's not only safe, it's divinely required at this point. When you get a calling on your life, it is at that point of your acceptance that it is divinely required for you to show up as your most authentic self, because the calling depends on it. So that's why, you got to do that shadow work. You got to confront and love on that inner teenager, that inner child, heal those wounds. Whatever wounds at whatever point of your life, heal them. Give them the graceful ending that they deserve so that you can move forward. And I think that's one of the biggest blocks that a lot of my clients deal with, is not giving the graceful ending so that they can move forward. So that's why they procrastinate. That's why they put stuff off. That's why, they get scared when I present a visibility challenge. That's why they retreat not in a good way, but in a way of, I gotta hide. I can't, it's not safe for me to let everybody know who I am. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be looked at as different. I don't want people to misunderstand, because people have been misunderstanding me my whole life. And I had to conform so that I could make friends. Now, don't get it twisted. Some of those people that I made friends with back then, I'm still friends with. And I love them dearly, and they love me. And I've had one come and tell me, in the last year or so, that she was like, if this is who you were then, if this is parts of who you were then I want to know this part of you more, so I can love her the way I loved her back then. And that made me feel good. So, are you giving your graceful endings to the stuff that hurt you, to the stuff that's got you stuck? See, I have this little program called Get Shit Done. And in Get Shit Done, we address a lot of that. Because again, that's one of the reasons why a lot of my clients procrastinate. That perfectionism shows up. Oh my God, that perfectionism shows up. And yeah, we laugh and joke and we attribute it to being like certain zodiac signs. But the truth of the matter is, it's not just the zodiac sign of it showing up. It's you. It's your trauma. It's your issues that need to be healed and dealt with, confronted. It's not just about the zodiac sign. We like to use that as a scapegoat because it's cute now. Everybody is talking about your sun, moon, and rising, and we're putting so much stock in it, which, don't get it twisted, I do too. But we also got to call stuff for what it is. Trauma is trauma, no matter what your zodiac sign is. No matter what your sun, moon, rising, your Mercury, your Venus, your whatever. It's all got to be confronted and dealt with. It's time for us to stop making excuses. It's past time. Some of you have such a divine calling on your life that you're just not answering the call because you got all this other muck and mire and stuff clouding up in here. That's why when I was learning about this being about the mind, the air suit being about the mind, and if you have the good tarot and you have not read this book that comes with it, read it, because I promise you the way she break it down makes it so much more relatable. It just does. It's in our minds, and we've got to do this work. This is why I love being a Reiki healer, because I get the opportunity for myself and for the women I help to go in on their behalf and be an advocate for their wellness, for their purpose, by going in and helping them shift the energy and move things around within those energy centers and clearing around in the aura of them and giving them empowering words, connecting them to themselves. This is why I love doing what I'm doing. So please allow me to help you. Get in my calendar. If you don't know what program to sign up for, just go to the Meet with Allison and let's sit down and have a conversation. Because that way I can see where you are and I will meet you where you are. But please understand, once you book with me and I become your coach, I'm going to meet you where you are, but I'm going to push you to where you're supposed to be, to where you are meant to be. I'm going to push you with love to get you where you are destined to be. Because I believe in you. I see you. I know you. And even though we probably have never had a conversation, I know you. Believe me, I do. I do. Yeah. So, that is why I wanted to share this. Went a little bit longer than I intended, but I also knew that it would, because there was a lot of pieces of that. Because I had to bring it home to the reason why there are so many, why those blocks are there. The biggest reasons that those blocks of procrastination, perfectionism, hiding, and everything else, it's all relative. And we need to heal it. Let me help you heal it. Okay? You might want to go back and listen to this replay. I'm thinking I'll probably put this on my YouTube channel because it was a pretty good message. So if I gotta say so myself, I'm so grateful, and I never, ever, ever try to toot my own horn in that way, because I know I get divine guidance, and I always want to make sure that I'm in alignment with the divine assignment that I have. So, okay, y'all. So, yeah. But even, let me just say this and I'll be done. Even if you're not wanting to get into a coaching program, book a Reiki healing session. At least do that for yourself. Do that for yourself. Book a Reiki session. Go to my bio and book Balance and Flow. And let's get it together for you. Okay? All right. So that's it. That's all I got. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you all next time. Don't forget, tune in on Tuesday on my YouTube channel or any other platforms you listen to my podcast for a brand new episode of the Sacred Pathway Academy podcast. All right? Thank you, Goddess Quayle. All right, y'all. Peace.